You know, there comes a moment in your life when you have to make a choice that goes against everything you've been taught, a choice that feels wrong at first, but is actually the most loving thing you can do, not just for yourself, but for others too. That choice is learning when not to help. I know what you're thinking. You've been raised to believe that helping others is always the right thing to do. Your parents told you to be kind. Your teachers told you to be generous. Your religion probably told you to turn the other cheek and give until it hurts. And there's truth in all of that. There's beauty in all of that. But here's what they didn't tell you. There are people in this world who will take your kindness and use it as a weapon against you. There are people who will drain every ounce of energy from your body, steal every moment of peace from your mind, and leave you empty, exhausted, and wondering what happened to your life. Today I'm going to talk to you about 6 types of people that you must not help. Not because you're cruel, not because you lack compassion, but because helping them is actually hurting them, and it's destroying you in the process. This is about understanding the difference between genuine help and enabling destruction. This is about learning to say no with love. This is about protecting your energy so you can give it to the people who truly need it and will use it to grow. The first dangerous person you must not help is the professional victim. You know this person. They're in your life right now. They're the ones who always have a problem, always have a crisis, always have a reason why life isn't working out for them. And here's the thing. When you first meet them, you feel sorry for them. You want to help. You think, if I just give them a little support, a little money, a little time, they'll get back on their feet. But months turn into years and nothing changes. The problems just shift. The crises just multiply. The reasons just get more elaborate. The professional victim has made suffering their identity. They've built their entire sense of self around being the person things happen to. They're not living life, they're enduring it. And they need an audience for their suffering. That's where you come in. Every time you rush to their rescue, every time you solve their problem, every time you give them money or time or emotional energy, you're giving them what they really want, which isn't a solution. What they want is validation that they are indeed victims, that life is indeed happening to them, that they have no power and no responsibility. You see, the professional victim has a story, and your help keeps that story alive. The story goes something like this. I'm a good person, but the world is against me. People are against me. Circumstances are against me. If only things were different, if only people would help me more, if only I had what others have, then I could be happy. Then I could succeed. Then I could live the life I deserve. But right now, right here, I'm stuck, I'm powerless, I'm the victim. When you help the professional victim, you become a supporting character in their drama. You confirm their belief that they need rescuing. You reinforce their sense of powerlessness. And here's the cruel irony. The more you help, the more helpless they become. Because every time you solve a problem for them, you send a message, you're right, you can't do this on your own. You're right, you need someone else to fix your life. You're right, you have no power. Real help, true help, compassionate help looks completely different. Real help says, I believe in your strength. I believe in your ability to handle this. I'm not going to rescue you because you don't need rescuing. You need to remember who you are. You need to reclaim your power. You need to take responsibility for your life. And I'll stand beside you while you do that, but I won't do it for you. The professional victim doesn't want to hear this. They'll get angry. They'll accuse you of being cold, of not caring, of abandoning them in their time of need. They'll find someone else who will play the rescuer role. And that's okay. That's their path. Your path is to preserve your energy for those who are genuinely ready to help themselves. The second dangerous person you must not help is the energy vampire. This person is different from the professional victim, though sometimes they overlap. The energy vampire doesn't necessarily present themselves as helpless. They might be successful, charming, even inspiring at first glance. But here's how you know you're dealing with an energy vampire. After spending time with them, you feel exhausted, drained, empty, like someone reached inside you and pulled out your life force. Energy vampires feed on your attention, your emotions, your reactions. They create drama not because they're victims, but because drama gives them energy. They pull it right out of you. They'll call you with emergencies that aren't really emergencies. They'll engage you in conflicts that don't need to exist. They'll dump their emotional garbage on you and walk away feeling lighter while you're left carrying the weight. Here's the thing about energy vampires. They're unconscious. They don't wake up in the morning and think, today I'm going to drain the life out of everyone I meet. They don't know what they're doing. They just know that when they're around certain people like you, they feel better. And so they keep coming back, they keep taking. And if you let them, they'll take until there's nothing left. You cannot help an energy vampire by giving them your energy. That's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it's never enough. The bucket never fills. The only way to help an energy vampire is to stop feeding them. Stop giving them the reactions they're looking for. Stop engaging in the drama. Stop being available for every crisis. Create boundaries. Protect your peace. And when they get angry, when they accuse you of changing, of not being the friend you used to be, understand that this is their addiction talking. They're addicted to your energy, and you're cutting off their supply. The most compassionate thing you can do for an energy vampire is to force them to find energy within themselves, to stop looking outside for what can only be found inside, to learn to generate their own light instead of stealing it from others. But they'll never learn this if you keep giving them what they want. The third dangerous person you must not help is the chronic blamer. This person has a special talent for making everything someone else's fault. Their marriage failed because of their spouse. Their career tanked because of their boss. Their health is poor because of their doctor. Their finances are a mess because of the economy. They are never, ever responsible for anything that goes wrong in their life. The chronic blamer is trapped in a prison of their own making, but they can't see the bars. They can't see that the key to their freedom is in their own pocket. They're so busy pointing fingers that they never look in the mirror. And when you try to help them, when you try to offer solutions or suggestions, they have a reason why it won't work. They have someone else to blame for why they can't take action. You cannot help someone who refuses to take responsibility for their life. You just can't. Because help requires participation. Help requires ownership. Help requires a person to say, yes, I played a role in creating this situation and therefore I have the power to create a different one. But the chronic blamer will never say this. They're too invested in being right about being wronged. When you try to help a chronic blamer, you become their next target. Eventually, when your help doesn't fix their life, because nothing can fix a life that won't be fixed from the data inside, they'll blame you too. You didn't do enough. You didn't care enough. You didn't understand. You're just like everyone else who let them down. And round it goes. The most loving thing you can do for a chronic blamer is to refuse to participate in their blame game. Don't agree with their assessments. Don't feed their narrative. Don't let them use you as a dumping ground for their resentment. Instead, gently reflect back to them. What's your part in this? What could you have done differently? What can you control moving forward? Most won't want to hear it. Most will walk away, and that's okay. Your job isn't to force people into awareness. Your job is to maintain your own. The fourth dangerous person you must not help is the perpetual user. This person sees relationships as transactions. They see people as resources. They see you as a means to an end. They're nice when they need something. They're charming when they want something. But when you need them, they're nowhere to be found. They're busy. They're unavailable. They're dealing with their own stuff. The perpetual user has developed a sophisticated strategy for getting their needs met without ever giving anything in return. They know how to make you feel special when they want your help. They know how to make you feel guilty if you hesitate. They know exactly which buttons to push and which strings to pull. And if you're a naturally giving person, if you're someone who finds meaning in helping others, you're the perfect target. Here's what happens when you help a perpetual user. You teach them that using people works. You teach them that they can take without giving. You teach them that relationships are one-way streets. And you teach yourself that your value lies in what you can do for others, not in who you are. This is dangerous for both of you. The perpetual user needs to learn that real relationships are based on mutual respect, mutual care, mutual giving. They need to learn that people aren't tools to be picked up when needed and discarded when not. They need to learn empathy, reciprocity, genuine connection. But they'll never learn these things if you keep allowing them to use you. Stopping your help to a perpetual user feels harsh. It feels mean. They'll make you feel like you're the problem. How could you be so selfish? How could you abandon them when they need you? But here's the truth. Saying no to a user isn't selfish. It's self-respectful. It's teaching them a lesson that nobody else has had the courage to teach them. And if they can't handle it, if they disappear from your life because you stopped being useful, then you know what? They were never really in your life to begin with. They were just passing through, taking what they could get. The fifth dangerous person you must not help is the person who refuses to help themselves. This is perhaps the most heartbreaking one because often these are people we love. These are family members, old friends, people we've known for years. We watch them make the same mistakes over and over. We watch them ignore good advice. We watch them choose the path of least resistance even when it leads to destruction. And we want so badly to save them. But here's what you need to understand. You cannot want someone's healing more than they want it themselves. You cannot care about someone's life more than they care about it. You cannot drag someone into their own potential. They have to want it. They have to choose it. They have to do the work. The person who refuses to help themselves is saying, through their actions, I'm not ready, I'm not willing, I'm not committed to change. And that's their right. That's their choice. As hard as it is to accept, everyone has the right to stay stuck. Everyone has the right to refuse growth. Everyone has the right to say no to their own evolution. When you help someone who refuses to help themselves, you're doing more harm than good. You're enabling their self-destruction. You're removing the natural consequences that might actually motivate them to change. You're interfering with the lessons that life is trying to teach them. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is to step back and let them hit bottom. Because it's only at the bottom that many people finally decide to climb. This doesn't mean you stop loving them. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you love them enough to let them learn their own lessons. It means you care enough to say, I can't do this for you and I won't pretend that I can. It means you're honest enough to admit that your help isn't helping, it's just postponing the inevitable. The sixth and final dangerous person you must not help is the person who wants you to compromise your own well-being for theirs. This person comes to you with needs that require you to sacrifice your health, your peace, your values, your boundaries, your own life. They want you to set yourself on fire to keep them warm. And if you're not careful, if you're not awake, you'll do it. Because you're a good person, because you care, because you've been taught that sacrifice is noble. But let me tell you something. Sacrifice isn't always noble. Sometimes sacrifice is just slow suicide. Sometimes sacrifice is just a socially acceptable way of destroying yourself. There's a huge difference between healthy giving and unhealthy sacrificing. Healthy giving comes from a full cup. It's sustainable. It's joyful. It doesn't deplete you because you're giving from your overflow. Unhealthy sacrificing comes from an empty cup. It's unsustainable. It's resentful. It depletes you because you're giving what you don't have. The person who wants you to compromise your well-being for theirs is asking you to live a lie. They're asking you to pretend that your needs don't matter. They're asking you to treat yourself as less important than they are. And if you agree to this, if you go along with this, you're not helping them. You're teaching them that it's okay to disrespect you. You're teaching them that your boundaries don't mean anything. You're teaching them that love means destroying yourself for others. Real love, true love, healthy love never asks someone to betray themselves. Real love says, take care of yourself first so you have something real to give. Real love says, your well-being matters just as much as mine. Real love says, I want you whole, not depleted. When someone genuinely cares about you, they don't want your help at the cost of your health, your sanity, your life. They want you thriving. They want you strong. They want you full. So when someone comes to you with a request that requires you to compromise your own well-being, the answer must be no. Not maybe, not let me think about it. No. A clear, clean, unapologetic no. And if they can't accept that, if they get angry or hurt or offended, that tells you everything you need to know. It tells you they were more interested in what you could do for them than in who you are. It tells you they saw you as a resource, not as a person. It tells you they don't really love you. They love what you give them. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, if I don't help these people, who will? If I turn my back on them, aren't I being just as selfish as they are? If I put up boundaries, aren't I being cold and uncaring? And these are good questions. These are important questions. But they're based on a false premise. The false premise is that you only have two options. Help everyone or help no one. Sacrifice yourself or be selfish. But there's a third way. There's a middle path. And that path is called wisdom. Wisdom knows the difference between helping and enabling. Wisdom knows the difference between compassion and codependency. Wisdom knows the difference between supporting someone's growth and supporting their dysfunction. Wisdom says, I will give generously to those who are doing the work, who are taking, responsibility, who are genuinely trying to help themselves. But I will not waste my precious energy on those who refuse to change, who blame everyone else, who see me as a resource to be exploited. This isn't about being hard. This isn't about being cold. This is about being smart with your love. This is about understanding that you have a finite amount of energy, time, and resources. You can't give to everyone, you can't help everyone, you can't save everyone, so you have to choose. You have to decide where your energy will do the most good. You have to invest in the people who will actually use your help to grow, not the people who will use it to stay stuck. Think about it this way. If you had $100 to give to charity, would you give it to an organization that was well-run, effective, making a real difference in the world? Or would you give it to an organization that was corrupt, wasteful, making no real impact? The choice is obvious, right? You'd give to the organization that would use your money well. The same principle applies to your energy, your time, your help. Give it to the people who will use it well. Give it to the people who are ready. Give it to the people who are willing. Give it to the people who respect it. And what about those 6 dangerous people? What happens to them if you don't help? Well, here's the beautiful truth. They'll either figure it out on their own, or they'll find someone else to use, or they'll hit bottom and finally wake up. Either way, it's not your responsibility. You are not responsible for other people's lives. You are not responsible for other people's choices. You are not responsible for other people's happiness. You are responsible for your own life, your own choices, your own happiness. And when you take full responsibility for yourself, when you stop trying to save everyone else, something magical happens. You become a beacon of light. You become an example of what's possible. You become proof that people can thrive when they take responsibility for their own lives. The professional victim sees you thriving and thinks, maybe I don't have to be a victim. Maybe I can take charge of my life too. The energy vampire sees you with strong boundaries and thinks, maybe I need to generate my own energy. Maybe I need to stop feeding off others. The chronic blamer sees you taking responsibility and thinks, maybe I've been wrong. Maybe I do have power here. The perpetual user sees you refusing to be used and thinks, maybe I need to learn to give as well as take. The person who refuses to help themselves sees you stepping back and thinks, maybe it's time I start helping myself. And the person who wanted you to compromise your well-being sees you honoring yourself and thinks, maybe I need to honor others too. You see, sometimes the most powerful help you can give someone is to stop helping them. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to let them struggle. Sometimes the greatest teaching is done through your absence, not your presence. This goes against everything you've been taught, I know, but it's true. And if you can accept this truth, if you can integrate this truth, if you can live this truth, your life will transform. You'll stop feeling drained all the time. You'll stop feeling resentful about all you give and how little you get back. You'll stop feeling like a doormat that everyone walks on. Instead, you'll feel energized. You'll feel empowered. You'll feel like yourself again. And here's the really beautiful part. When you stop wasting your energy on people who won't use it well, you'll have so much more energy for the people who will. You'll be able to show up fully for the people who are doing the work. You'll be able to give generously without feeling depleted. You'll be able to make a real difference in the lives of people who actually want to change. But to get there, you have to do something that feels impossible at first. You have to learn to say no. You have to learn to create boundaries. You have to learn to protect your energy. And most importantly, you have to learn to live with the discomfort of other people's disappointment in you. Because when you stop helping these 6 dangerous people, they will be disappointed. They will be angry. They will accuse you of changing, of not being the person you used to be. And you know what? They're right. You're not the person you used to be. You used to be someone who gave without wisdom. You used to be someone who helped without discernment. You used to be someone who sacrificed yourself without question. But you're not that person anymore. You've evolved. You've grown. You've learned. And that's something to celebrate, not apologize for. Let me be clear about something. This doesn't mean you become a cold person. This doesn't mean you stop caring about people. This doesn't mean you walk through the world with your heart closed. In fact, it's the opposite. When you stop wasting your compassion on people who misuse it, you have more compassion to give to those who honor it. When you stop sacrificing yourself for people who don't appreciate it, you have more of yourself to share with those who do. When you stop trying to save people who don't want to be saved, you can actually help people who are ready for help. This is about becoming a wise giver instead of a foolish one. This is about understanding that love without wisdom is just sentimentality. This is about recognizing that helping someone stay stuck is not actually helping them at all. This is about having the courage to do what's right even when it feels wrong. This is about trusting that people have their own path, their own lessons, their own growth, and that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is get out of the way and let them walk it. Think about the people in your life right now. Think about the ones who drain you, who use you, who blame you, who expect you to sacrifice yourself for them. Think about how much energy you've given them. Think about how little has changed. Think about how exhausted you feel. Now ask yourself, is this really helping? Is this really love? Is this really what I want to do with my one precious life? Because here's the thing, you don't have forever. You don't have unlimited energy. You don't have endless time. You have right now. You have this moment. You have this one beautiful, miraculous, temporary life. And you get to choose how you spend it. You get to choose where you invest your energy. You get to choose who you help and who you don't. And if you choose wisely, if you choose consciously, if you choose from a place of wisdom rather than guilt or obligation or fear, your life will be so much richer, so much fuller, so much more meaningful. Saying no to the professional victim isn't cruel. It's giving them an opportunity to discover their own strength. Saying no to the energy vampire isn't cold. It's forcing them to generate their own energy. Saying no to the chronic blamer isn't harsh. It's inviting them to take responsibility. Saying no to the perpetual user isn't mean. It's teaching them about reciprocity. Saying no to the person who refuses to help themselves isn't abandonment. It's respecting their choice and their path. Saying no to the person who wants you to compromise your well-being isn't selfish. It's self-loving. Every no to these dangerous people is a yes to yourself. Every boundary you create is an act of self-respect. Every time you protect your energy, you're honoring the precious life you've been given. And this matters. This matters so much because you matter. Your life matters, your energy matters, your peace matters, your well-being matters. You are not a resource to be used up. You are not a battery to be drained. You are not a tool to solve other people's problems. You are a human being with your own needs, your own dreams, your own path. When you finally accept this, when you finally own this, when you finally live from this truth, everything changes. The people who were using you will fall away. The people who were draining you will move on. The people who were taking advantage of your kindness will find someone else. And yes, it will hurt at first. Yes, you'll feel guilty. Yes, you'll wonder if you did the right thing. But stay the course. Trust the process. Because on the other side of this discomfort is freedom. On the other side of this guilt is peace. On the other side of this change is the life you've always wanted but never thought you deserved. You deserve relationships that fill you up instead of emptying you out. You deserve friends who give as much as they take. You deserve people in your life who respect your boundaries, honor your needs, appreciate your help. You deserve to wake up in the morning feeling energized instead of exhausted. You deserve to go through your day without constantly being interrupted by other people's crises. You deserve to give from a full cup instead of an empty one. But you'll never have any of this if you keep helping the 6 dangerous people. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to get really honest with yourself. Look at your life. Look at your relationships. Look at where your energy is going. Identify the professional victims, the energy vampires, the chronic blamers, the perpetual users, the people who refuse to help themselves, the people who want you to compromise your well-being. See them clearly, name them honestly, and then make a decision. Decide that you're done. Decide that you're not doing this anymore. Decide that your life is too precious to waste on people who won't value your help. And then take action. Start creating boundaries. Start saying no. Start protecting your energy. And when people push back, when they get upset, when they accuse you of changing, stay strong, stay clear, stay committed to your own well-being. Because this is your life. This is your one shot. This is your opportunity to live in a way that honors who you are and what you're here to do. Don't waste it trying to save people who don't want to be saved. Don't sacrifice it for people who wouldn't do the same for you. Don't give it away to people who don't value it. Instead, invest your precious energy in people who are ready to receive it. Give your time to people who will use it to grow. Share your wisdom with people who want to learn. Support people who are doing the work. Encourage people who are taking responsibility. Stand beside people who are helping themselves. These are the people who deserve your help. These are the people who will honor your gift. These are the people who will transform your energy into something beautiful. And here's what will happen. You'll start to feel like yourself again. You'll start to remember who you are beneath all the giving, beneath all the sacrificing, beneath all the helping. You'll rediscover your own dreams, your own needs, your own life. You'll have energy for your own growth. You'll have time for your own development. You'll have space for your own peace. And from this place of wholeness, from this place of fullness, from this place of authenticity, you'll be able to give in a way that's truly helpful. You'll be able to love in a way that's truly loving. You'll be able to serve in a way that's truly serving. This is the paradox. When you stop trying to help everyone, you're actually able to help the people who need it most. When you stop giving indiscriminately, you're able to give powerfully. When you stop sacrificing yourself, you're able to show up fully. This is wisdom. This is maturity. This is the path of the awakened giver. So stop helping the 6 dangerous people. Stop enabling the professional victim. Stop feeding the energy vampire. Stop participating with the chronic blamer. Stop allowing the perpetual user. Stop rescuing the person who refuses to help themselves. Stop compromising your well-being for others. And start living your life. Start honoring your needs. Start respecting your boundaries. Start protecting your peace. Start valuing your energy. Start choosing yourself. This isn't selfishness. This is self-love. And self-love is the foundation of all genuine love. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot help others if you've destroyed yourself. So fill your own cup first. Take care of your own needs first. Protect your own peace first. And then from that place of fullness, from that place of strength, from that place of wisdom, give to those who are ready to receive. Help those who are willing to be helped. Support those who are doing the work. This is the path. This is the way. This is how you live a life that matters, that makes a difference, that leaves the world better than you found it. Not by sacrificing yourself for everyone, not by saying yes to every request, not by giving until there's nothing left, but by being wise with your love, discerning with your help, and protective of your precious energy. When you do this, when you really do this, you become a force for good in this world. You become an example of what's possible. You become a light that guides others home, not because you've sacrificed yourself, but because you've honored yourself. And that makes all the difference. You know, right now, in this very moment, millions of people are rushing. They're running towards something they think they need to catch. They're sprinting through their days, their weeks, their entire lives, as if there's some invisible finish line waiting for them. And the tragedy is this: they have no idea where that finish line is or what they'll get when they cross it. They just know they need to run faster. Run harder, keep going, don't stop, don't slow down. Because if you slow down, someone might pass you. If you stop, you might fall behind. And falling behind, well, that's the worst thing that could possibly happen, right? Wrong. Life is not a race. It never was. It never will be. But somewhere along the way, we got confused. We started believing that our worth is measured by how fast we move, how much we accumulate, how many boxes we can check off some imaginary list that society handed us. We started running, and we forgot to ask ourselves a simple question: where am I running to? And more importantly, why am I running at all? When you were born, you weren't in a hurry. You didn't come into this world with a stopwatch around your neck and a list of achievements you needed to accomplish by age 5, 10, or 25. You came here whole, complete, and perfect. You came here with everything you needed already inside you. You were born with gifts, with talents, with a unique way of seeing the world that no one else has. You were born to express yourself, to create, to love, to experience the fullness of this human experience. But then something happened. The world started telling you stories. Stories about who you should be, what you should want, how fast you should get there. And slowly, gradually, you started to believe these stories. You started to think that your value is determined by external things, by your job title, by your bank account, by the car you drive or the house you live in, by how you compare to the person next to you, by whether you're ahead or behind in some race that nobody really understands. And once you started believing these stories, you started running. You had to keep up. You had to prove yourself. You had to show the world, and maybe more importantly, show yourself, that you were good enough, worthy enough, successful enough. But here's what nobody tells you: the race is an illusion. It doesn't exist. It's a construct, a story, a collective agreement we've all bought into without questioning it. And the moment you realize this, everything changes. The moment you understand that there is no race, you can stop running. You can catch your breath. You can look around and actually see where you are, who you're with, what's available to you right now in this present moment. Because the truth is, you're not behind. You never were. You're not ahead either. You're exactly where you need to be, right here, right now, in this moment. This is your life. Not the life you'll have when you finally achieve that goal. Not the life you'll live when you finally get that promotion or lose that weight or find that relationship. This moment right now is your life. And if you're so busy running towards some future destination, you're missing it. You're missing the only thing that's real, the only thing that actually exists now. Think about it for a moment. When you're running, what are you focused on? The future. Some imaginary point in time when things will be better, when you'll finally be happy, when you'll finally be able to relax and enjoy yourself. You're always looking ahead, always focused on what's next, what's coming, what you still need to do. And in the process, you're completely absent from your own life. You're not tasting your food. You're not hearing the laughter of your children. You're not feeling the sun on your face or the ground beneath your feet. You're not present with the people you love. You're somewhere else, always somewhere else, in some future that never quite arrives. Because here's the trick, here's the cosmic joke. When you finally get to that future destination, when you finally achieve that goal you've been running toward, you don't stop. You don't suddenly become present and grateful and satisfied. No, you just set a new goal. You move the finish line a little further down the road. You find something else to chase, something else to prove, something else that you convince yourself you need in order to be happy, and the running continues. The race goes on. And your life, your precious, beautiful, unrepeatable life, continues to pass you by. I've seen this pattern in countless people. They work themselves to exhaustion, trying to climb the corporate ladder, thinking that the next promotion will bring them fulfillment. They get the promotion, and there's a brief moment of satisfaction, maybe a day or a week, and then what? They're looking at the next rung on the ladder. They're comparing themselves to someone who's higher up. They're back in the race, running again. Or they think that finding the right relationship will complete them, will make them whole. They find someone, and it's wonderful for a while, but then they start focusing on what's wrong with the relationship, what's missing, how it could be better. They're running even within their relationships, trying to reach some ideal that exists only in their minds. The same thing happens with money, with possessions, with status, with everything external. You think you need a certain amount of money to feel secure. You reach that amount, and the number just goes up. You think you need a bigger house, a nicer car, a better vacation. You get those things, and they don't deliver the lasting happiness you expected. Because happiness, real happiness, doesn't come from external circumstances. It never has, and it never will. Happiness is an inside job. It's a choice you make, a state of being you cultivate, regardless of what's happening around you. When you're running through life, you're operating from a mindset of lack, of scarcity. You're telling yourself, either consciously or unconsciously, that something is missing, that you're not enough as you are, that you need to acquire something, achieve something, become something different in order to be worthy, in order to be happy, in order to be at peace. And this mindset creates suffering. It creates anxiety, stress, dissatisfaction, and a constant feeling of restlessness. Because no matter what you get, no matter what you achieve, it's never enough. There's always more to do, more to get, more to become. But what if you stopped? What if, right now, you simply stopped running? What if you took a breath, looked around, and asked yourself, what if I'm already enough? What if there's nothing wrong with me, nothing missing, nothing I need to fix or change or acquire? What if I'm already whole, already complete, already worthy of love and happiness and peace? What would happen if you believed that? Everything would change. Because when you stop running, when you step out of the race, you create space. Space to breathe, space to think, space to feel, space to be. You create space to hear your own inner voice, the voice that's been trying to guide you all along, but that you couldn't hear over the noise of the race. You create space to connect with what truly matters to you, with your values, your passions, your purpose. You create space to be present with the people you love, to actually see them, hear them, appreciate them. You create space for joy, for gratitude, for wonder, for all the beautiful things that can only be experienced when you're present, when you're here, when you're not running. And here's something else that happens when you stop running. You realize that you have enough. You have enough time. You have enough money. You have enough love. You have enough of everything you truly need. The feeling of lack, of scarcity, of never having enough, that's just a story. It's a belief you've been carrying, not a truth. When you slow down and actually look at your life, really look at it, you see abundance everywhere. You see all the things you've been taking for granted while you were busy chasing something else. You see the miracle of your own existence, the gift of each breath, each moment, each experience. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have goals or dreams or things you want to create or achieve. That's not what this is about. Goals are wonderful. They give us direction, they inspire us, they call us forward. But there's a big difference between moving towards something because it excites you, because it's an expression of who you are, and running towards something because you think you need it in order to be worthy or happy or enough. The first is joyful creation. The second is suffering. When you move through life from a place of wholeness, from a place of already being enough, your goals become expressions of your joy, not requirements for your happiness. You pursue things because you want to, because they align with your values and your vision, not because you feel like you have to in order to prove something. And interestingly, when you approach life this way, things often unfold more easily, because you're not pushing and forcing and struggling, you're allowing, you're flowing. You're trusting that you're being guided, that you're exactly where you need to be, learning what you need to learn, growing in the ways you need to grow. This is what it means to live from the inside out, rather than the outside in. When you live from the outside in, you let external circumstances dictate your internal state. If things are going well according to society's standards, you feel good. If things aren't going well, you feel bad. Your happiness is like a boat on the ocean, tossed around by waves you have no control over. But when you live from the inside out, you recognize that your internal state is your choice. You choose how you want to feel, how you want to show up, how you want to experience this moment, regardless of what's happening around you. You become like a lighthouse, stable and grounded, shining your light no matter what storms may be raging. And this requires a fundamental shift in how you think about success. The world tells you that success is about what you have, what you've accomplished, what you can show for yourself. But real success, true success, is about who you are, how you feel, how you treat others, how present you are in your own life. Real success is waking up in the morning feeling grateful for another day. Real success is being able to look at yourself in the mirror and genuinely like the person you see. Real success is having loving relationships with the people who matter to you. Real success is doing work that feels meaningful, that aligns with your values, that allows you to express your unique gifts. Real success is being at peace, being content, being here now. You see, when you're racing through life, you're always focused on the destination. You're always thinking about where you're going, what you're trying to reach. And in doing so, you completely miss the journey. You miss the process, the experiences, the growth, the lessons, the beauty that exists in every single step along the way. But life isn't about the destination. How could it be? The ultimate destination for all of us is the same. We're all going to die. That's the one thing we can be absolutely certain about. So if life is about reaching a destination, then life is about dying, which doesn't make much sense, does it? No, life is about the journey. Life is about what happens between your birth and your death. It's about the experiences you have, the people you love, the things you create, the ways you grow, the moments you're present for. It's about the journey, not the destination. And when you're running, you're not on a journey. You're just trying to get somewhere else as fast as possible, which means you're not really living at all. There's an old story about a group of explorers who hired some local guides to help them trek through a jungle. The explorers were in a hurry, pushing hard, trying to cover as much ground as possible each day. They kept urging the guides to move faster, to keep going. But after 3 days of this rapid pace, the guides suddenly stopped and sat down. The explorers were frustrated and asked why they were stopping. One of the guides replied, "We've been moving too fast. We need to stop now and wait for our souls to catch up with our bodies." That's what happens when we're running through life. Our souls can't keep up. We're moving so fast, we're so disconnected from ourselves, from our essence, from what truly matters. We become like machines, just going through the motions, checking boxes, completing tasks, but not really living, not really feeling, not really being. And then we wonder why we feel empty, why we feel unfulfilled, why nothing seems to satisfy us. It's because we've left the most important part of ourselves behind. Your soul isn't interested in the race. Your soul doesn't care about your job title or your bank account or how you compare to your neighbors. Your soul cares about love, about truth, about beauty, about connection, about expression, about growth. Your soul wants you to be present, to be authentic, to be real. Your soul wants you to slow down, to breathe, to feel, to be here now. And when you're running, you can't hear your soul. You can't feel its guidance. You can't experience the peace and joy that come from being aligned with your deepest truth. So how do you stop running? How do you step out of the race? It starts with awareness. It starts with noticing that you're running, recognizing the patterns, seeing the ways you've bought into the story that you're not enough as you are. It starts with questioning the beliefs you've been carrying, the assumptions you've been making about what you need in order to be happy. It starts with getting honest with yourself about what you truly value, what truly matters to you, not what you've been told should matter. And then it requires a choice, a decision. You have to decide that you're going to stop. You have to decide that you're going to step off the treadmill, even if it scares you, even if everyone around you is still running, even if you're not sure what will happen if you stop. You have to decide that you're willing to trust yourself, to trust life, to trust that you'll be okay, that you'll be more than okay if you stop trying so hard and just let yourself be. This doesn't mean you become lazy or unmotivated or that you stop caring about things. Not at all. In fact, when you stop running, you often become more effective, more creative, more productive because you're no longer operating from fear and anxiety. You're operating from clarity and purpose and alignment. You're doing things because they matter to you, not because you think you should or because you're trying to prove something. And when you're doing things from that place, they become easier, more enjoyable, more fulfilling. One of the most powerful things you can do is to spend time in silence, in stillness. Just sit quietly, without distractions, without your phone, without anything to do. Just sit and breathe and be. At first, this might feel uncomfortable. Your mind might race. You might feel anxious or restless. That's normal. That's just all the energy you've been using to run, looking for somewhere to go. But if you stay with it, if you keep sitting, keep breathing, keep being present, something begins to shift. You begin to settle. You begin to come home to yourself. You begin to reconnect with that quiet voice inside, the one that knows the truth, the one that's been there all along. And as you practice this, as you spend more time in stillness, you begin to see your life differently. You begin to notice things you've been missing. You begin to appreciate things you've been taking for granted. You begin to feel gratitude for the simple fact of being alive, of having this opportunity to be here, to experience this incredible adventure called life. You begin to realize that you don't need to prove anything, that you don't need to earn your worthiness, that you already have everything you need right here, right now. Another thing that helps is to get clear on your values, on what truly matters to you. Not what society says should matter, not what your parents or your friends or your colleagues think should matter, but what actually matters to you in your heart. Is it connection? Is it creativity? Is it growth? Is it contribution? Is it peace? Is it love? Get clear on these things, and then look at how you're spending your time and energy. Are you living in alignment with your values, or are you running after things that don't really matter to you because you think you're supposed to? When you align your life with your values, everything becomes simpler. Decisions become easier. You know what to say yes to and what to say no to. You stop doing things out of obligation or fear or the need to impress others. You start doing things because they feel right, because they align with who you are and what you care about. And when you live this way, you stop feeling like you're in a race, because you're not trying to get anywhere other than where you already are. You're not trying to be anyone other than who you already are. Let me tell you something important. Comparison is the thief of joy. When you're running through life, you're constantly comparing yourself to others. You're looking at what they have, what they've achieved, where they are, and measuring yourself against them. And this is torture, because there will always be someone who has more, who's achieved more, who seems to be doing better. There will always be someone ahead of you in the imaginary race. And as long as you're comparing, you'll never be satisfied. You'll never be enough. But when you stop running, when you come back to yourself, comparison loses its power. You realize that everyone is on their own path, their own journey. What someone else has or hasn't achieved has nothing to do with you. Their success doesn't diminish yours. Their happiness doesn't diminish yours. There's enough for everyone. There's no competition except the one you create in your own mind. And when you release that competition, when you genuinely celebrate others' success instead of feeling threatened by it, you free yourself. You open up space for your own joy, your own success, your own unique expression. Think about children for a moment. Watch young children play, and you'll see what it looks like to live without running. Children are completely present. They're absorbed in whatever they're doing, whether it's building a sandcastle or chasing a butterfly or making up a story. They're not worried about the future. They're not concerned with how they compare to other children. They're just being, just playing, just experiencing life as it unfolds. And they're joyful, they're spontaneous, they're free. That joy, that spontaneity, that freedom, it's still inside you. It never left. It just got covered up by all the stories you've been telling yourself, all the beliefs you've accumulated, all the racing and striving and trying to be something other than what you are. But it's still there, waiting for you to come back, waiting for you to remember what you knew before you learned to run. And here's what happens when you stop running, when you come back to yourself. When you choose to live from presence instead of fear, you become magnetic. You become attractive, not in a superficial way, but in a real way. People are drawn to you because you're real, because you're present, because you're not trying to be something you're not. You inspire others, not by what you've achieved or what you have, but by how you are, by the peace and joy and authenticity you radiate. You give others permission to stop running too, just by your example. And you start to see life as the gift it truly is. Every moment becomes precious. Every experience, even the challenging ones, becomes an opportunity for growth, for learning, for deepening. You stop resisting what is and start accepting it, working with it, learning from it. You stop waiting for life to begin and realize it's been happening all along. You've just been too busy running to notice. The race, my friend, is an illusion. It's a story we've been telling ourselves, a game we've been playing without realizing we have a choice. But we do have a choice. We always have a choice. And the choice is simple, though not always easy. We can keep running, keep chasing, keep trying to reach some imaginary finish line that will always move further away. Or we can stop, we can breathe. We can be here now, we can live. Because life is not a race. Life is a gift. Life is an opportunity. Life is a miracle unfolding in every moment. And the only way to experience it, the only way to truly live it, is to stop running and start being present. To stop trying to get somewhere else and start appreciating where you are. To stop trying to be someone else and start being fully, authentically, courageously yourself. You are enough. Right now, as you are enough. You don't need to prove anything to anyone, including yourself. You don't need to earn your worthiness. You don't need to achieve some arbitrary standard of success in order to deserve happiness or peace or love. You already deserve all of those things simply because you exist. You are a unique expression of life itself, and that makes you infinitely valuable, infinitely worthy, infinitely enough. So what would your life look like if you really believed that? What would you do differently? How would you spend your time? How would you treat yourself? How would you treat others? What would you let go of? What would you embrace? What would you say yes to? What would you say no to? These are important questions, and only you can answer them. But I encourage you to sit with them, to really consider them, to let them sink in and show you where you've been running and why, because awareness is the first step. Once you see the race for the illusion it is, you can choose to step out of it. You can choose to live differently. You can choose to be present, to be grateful, to be real, to be here now. And when you make that choice, when you really commit to it, something beautiful happens. Life stops being a burden and becomes an adventure. Challenges stop being problems and become opportunities. Other people stop being competition and become companions on the journey. You stop feeling like you're not doing enough or being enough, and you start feeling whole, complete, at peace. You stop waiting for happiness in the future and start experiencing joy right now. This moment, right now, is the only moment you have. It's the only moment that's real. The past is gone. It only exists in your memory. The future hasn't arrived yet. It only exists in your imagination. The only thing that's real, the only thing you can actually experience is now. And if you're always running towards some future moment, you're missing the only reality there is. You're missing your life. So stop. Just stop. Take a breath. Feel the air entering your lungs. Feel your body, your heart beating, your aliveness. Look around. Really see where you are. Who's with you? What's available to you right now? What can you appreciate? What can you be grateful for? This is your life, right here, right now, not in the future, not when you finally achieve that goal or reach that destination, right now. This is it. And when you really get this, when you really understand that this moment is all there is, you stop rushing, you stop running, you start savoring, you start appreciating, you start living. Because you realize that life isn't about getting somewhere, it's about being somewhere. And that somewhere is here. That sometime is now. And that someone is you, exactly as you are, enough just as you are, worthy just as you are, perfect in your imperfection, whole in your incompleteness, beautiful in your humanity. The race will always be there, calling to you, tempting you to jump back in. Society will keep pushing you to compare, to compete, to strive, to achieve. But now you know the truth. Now you know that you have a choice. You can run or you can live. You can chase or you can receive. You can struggle or you can flow. You can resist what is or you can embrace it. You can wait for happiness in the future or you can choose it right now. What will you choose? Not tomorrow, not when things are different. Right now, in this moment, what will you choose? Will you keep running or will you stop and breathe and be here? Will you keep trying to prove your worth or will you accept that you're already worthy? Will you keep chasing an illusion or will you receive the reality that's already here? The answer is yours. The choice is always yours. And whatever you choose, know that it's okay. There's no right or wrong. There's just awareness and choice and the consequences that flow from them. But also know this. You are loved. You are enough. You are worthy. And your life right now as it is a gift. Don't miss it by running through it. Don't miss it by always being somewhere else. Be here. Be now. Be you. Because life is not a race. It never was. And the moment you stop running, the moment you step out of the race and into the present, is the moment you truly begin to live. That's when the magic happens. That's when the joy arrives. That's when peace becomes possible. Not in some distant future, but right here, right now, in this beautiful, precious, unrepeatable moment that is your life. You know what's interesting? When you stop running, you actually start moving in a more meaningful direction. It seems contradictory, doesn't it? But it's true. When you're racing, you're often moving in circles, repeating the same patterns, chasing the same empty promises. But when you stop and get still, when you listen to that inner guidance, you start moving with purpose. You start moving with intention. Every step becomes deliberate, meaningful, aligned with who you truly are. And here's something else nobody talks about. The people who seem most successful, most fulfilled, most at peace, they're not the ones running the fastest. They're the ones who learn to walk their own path at their own pace. They're the ones who figured out that speed doesn't equal progress. They're the ones who understood that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is pause, reflect, and make sure you're heading in a direction that actually matters to you. Your energy is finite. You only have so much of it each day, each year, each lifetime. And when you're running, you're burning through that energy without any real return. You're exhausting yourself in pursuit of things that don't truly nourish you. But when you stop running and start being intentional about where you put your energy, everything changes. You invest your energy in things that matter, in relationships that feed your soul, in work that feels meaningful, in activities that bring you genuine joy, and suddenly, you're not tired all the time. You're not depleted. You're energized because you're finally using your life force in ways that align with your truth. There's tremendous courage required to stop running, because when you stop, you have to face yourself. You have to look at your life honestly and ask the hard questions. Why have I been running? What am I afraid of? What am I avoiding? What do I really want? Who am I without all the doing, all the achieving, all the striving? These questions can be uncomfortable, they can be scary, but they're also liberating, because on the other side of them is freedom. On the other side of them is authenticity. On the other side of them is the real you, the one who's been waiting patiently for you to come home. So take that first step. Maybe it's saying no to something you don't want to do. Maybe it's taking a day off without guilt. Maybe it's sitting in silence for 10 minutes. Maybe it's having an honest conversation with yourself about what you truly value. Whatever it is, take that step. Stop running, even if just for a moment. Feel what it's like to be still, to be present, to be here. And then take another step, and another. Because this is how you reclaim your life. This is how you step out of the race and into your truth. One conscious choice at a time, one present moment at a time, one authentic step at a time.